Hi, guys. Hello to everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, Somewhere in the Middle. And as usual, this is Pao.
This is Scotty.
And this is Raffy. Nakawa ako kay Scotty dun sa
Parang
paklik
biglang may
niya.
certain actions na tayo.
Oo.
So, guys, okay, for this episode, we will be talking about something more serious, and a lot of people for sure has experienced or can somewhat relate because of what we are all going through right now. I mean, a lot of people are having different kinds of problems, issues, mental challenges. So for today, we will be talking about mental health. Okay, and for today, we actually have a special guest, a good friend of mine, Miss Gela Petines, and also one of the very active mental health advocates na kilala ko, at marami rin siyang ginagawa to spread awareness when it comes to mental health here in her local community. Alright, so without further ado, let's bring her in. Alright, hello Gela! Welcome!
Hi, Gela.
Guys,
Welcome.
Kumusta ka? How are you doing right now?
good. I mean, considering the pandemic, I think we're doing pretty okay.
That's
And-
good.
Yes.
Oo, kasi parang ang dami atang affected din talaga. Like, not just because of the sakit, but because maraming fear, the paranoia that comes with the pandemic, right?
Yeah, marami people who lost jobs and everything, but just grateful na our basic needs are met, diba? So just finding the light in little things,
Yes.
such as that. Yeah.
Silver
Important.
lining.
Yes, important, diba? We get to eat 3 times a day. We are safe. We still have a shelter. We still have yung mga wants and needs natin. Nagpapaka-intellectual.
Okay, intellectual
May
texting. O,
gusto
sa'yo na
akong
corona. O, kasi si Gela, busy yan eh. Well, we've met a couple of years back, and before then, active na talaga siya sa mga advocacies niya. And one of those things is on mental health. Yeah, which is our topic for today. Now, actually, Gela, before I ask you anything, I would like to first of all thank you in behalf of a lot of people for pushing for that kind of advocacy. Kasi, like, heaven knows that it's very much needed here sa Philippines. Kasi, with the culture, di ba, a lot of people are in denial. Can we still say that ba? In denial pa rin sila.
Pwede. Pwede na.
Tsaka, less informed, less educated. Tama ba yung term ko? Not educated. Ganyan. Hindi sila
Misinformed?
exposed. Yes, parang misinformed about stuff.
Alright. So, Jella, we have a few questions for you today regarding mental health.
Oo,
Of
pero
course.
pero first, 'di ba, let's have her introduce herself naman so that our listeners can get to know her. Tsaka sabihin nila, sino ba tong inimbita nila, ganyan. At least para malaman nila.
Pinulit lang
Parang
sa...
nakakaya naman magtanong ng ganun, no? Sino ba?
Sino
Okay.
ba?
The
Si
virtual
Jella
floor is
Petines.
yours.
Sino ba si Gela?
So I'm Gela Petines. I'm 30 years old and I got diagnosed with clinical separation anxiety when I was 6. And I've been going to a lot of different mental health professionals since. I'm also diagnosed with major depressive disorder in 2018. Tapos, I'm also on medication. And then ever since my healing, which happened around my mid-20s, around 5 years ago, I've been a strong advocate for mental health, especially knowing how many people have lost their lives or almost lost their lives, including my brother. I've been really spreading more awareness on it.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay. Ano, hindi ko alam yung meron
Oo.
sa brother mo. I know about the other things, pero dun nagulat ako dun sa share mo regarding your brother. And I
Yung mga
guess
react.
oo, thank you for for sharing it with us.
Yes. Thank you for being open and trusting us to
Yeah.
share that information. Pero may question ako, Gela. Can you tell us a little bit about yung clinical separation disorder? Tama ba ako? Disorder?
Anxiety disorder.
Anxiety. Oh, yun. It's the first time I heard about it.
So people say sepangs, diba?
Oo.
Separation anxiety. When that's tossed around, medyo in my head, it's like, okay, people don't really know what that's like. Kasi real separation anxiety is when you literally cannot function in terms of normal day-to-day activities if you are separated from somebody that you really love. So for me, it was my mother and my sister. So whenever I got separated from them in grade 1, which is the time I got diagnosed, I was 6 years old. I'd literally just be crying at the back corner of the classroom. Tapos all the other students were able to perform. They were able to listen. They were able to learn. I didn't get to experience that. Not until I got sent to play therapy, since I was too young to really comprehend emotions and process them. So play therapy looked like playing with sand, blocks. Tapos they'd bring me back to the classroom. Tapos I'd cry a little bit, but I remember being able to listen a little bit more. So yeah, that's sort of what it looks like.
Okay,
So,
interesting. Actually, tatanong ko rin dapat yun kasi aware ako doon sa social anxiety, doon sa generalized anxiety. Ngayon ko lang na-encounter yung separation anxiety.
Yung
Siya opposite
legit
ng social.
na sepangs talaga.
Oo.
Pero may napansin ako doon na parang yung parang manifestations, tama ba ako? Or yung parang yung sinushow ni Gela doon sa kinikwento niya was crying, ganyan, and not being able to listen very well doon sa mga lessons na itatanong ko actually later, pero open ko na kasi nakikita lang nila na you're crying and you're not listening, ganyan, pero they're not thinking na may mas malalim pa, diba?
True.
Because that symptoms yung symptoms na nakikita natin are just that, na parang everybody cries, everybody naman has times na hindi nagli-listen or diba, yung ayaw mag-function. So when they see other people doing like, parang hindi nila naiisip na baka there's something deeper happening.
Yeah.
Diba?
In fact, I almost repeated grade 1 because I was seen as the one who was always misbehaving. So I barely passed the conduct mark because nobody really understood mental health in the 90s as much as in the Philippines, at least, as much as today. So siguro today I would have been provided better help in terms of professional help in that field. Pero at that time, parang nobody was really equipped with the knowledge of those things. So yeah, I was the difficult kid in the eyes of the school.
Pero that's I mean, it's admirable na it was found out that early. I mean, di ba sabi mo, you got diagnosed when you were 6. Knowing that, people would just say, nag-iinarte lang tong batang to, makulit lang siya.
Yeah.
Di ba? Kasi that's always the challenge eh. Tapos, buti how did it come about? Like, bakit tinest ka ba nila for some reason? Because
only a doctor, so a psychiatrist, can diagnose. So I was 6, but I'm pretty sure my mother brought me to a psychiatrist to be given that diagnosis because people in the guidance office who are not doctors, so psychologists who are therapists only, they cannot give diagnosis or medication, unlike psychiatrists who are doctors.
So, did the guidance counselors tell your parents na why not have Gela checked out, or your parents were the ones
Proactively.
who
Yeah.
actively pursued na let's have Gela checked out by a psychiatrist?
My mom doesn't really talk about it kasi I think malakas pa rin yung stigma sa mga boomers. But ang na-mention lang niya when I was having a really rough time a couple years ago was I had separation anxiety when I was 6. I was diagnosed, but she didn't spill any more details.
Alright. Okay, sige. That's true nga. Medyo ang dami ang in denial na boomers. Even until now. Ang dami
Yes.
pa rin.
Kasi diba when people say na pupunta sa psychiatrist or whatever, yung common notion sa kanila is not all boomers pero at the time sa TV or whatever, they would say na hindi ako baliw. So they associate yung doctor for mental health sa pagiging baliw. And it's a shame, diba? Sira ulo, ganyan. So,
Alright, so totoo may misinformation. Now, I know that, well, we've known each other for a few years, and I know, ayun nga, like I have mentioned earlier, that you have some advocacies, you spread awareness. So, how, I want to ask, para ma-enlighten din ang mga listeners natin, what do you do with regards to mental health? How do you spread awareness? And yeah, yung
I
help people.
posts that I hope that people will share. I've had several viral posts on mental health. Since my forte is really writing and viral, that's what I do. Tapos, I tried setting up an Instagram account, ano yung mental health. But I haven't been posting recently because I'm managing a couple of things that take a lot of time. But I do plan to revive ano yung mental health on Instagram kasi I consume a lot of mental health content on a daily basis from licensed professionals abroad. Kasi I really feel na napaka-advanced nila dun sa West. And sayang kasi ita-translate lang dapat natin yan sa Taglish or Filipino. Tapos mas maintindihan na nila dito.
Okay. Actually, I remember seeing some of your posts doon kasi avid liker ng mga ganung mga posts mo for the past couple of years then. And nakita ko parang may kilala ka pa nga na na one of my friends na into mental health awareness din. I'm not sure if you remember her, pero she knows you kasi we talk about you. Si El Perez.
Yes.
Ayun, oo. Barkada ko kasi siya and
Small world.
yeah, nagulat ako nung nilike niya yung post mo at shinare niya. Parang you know Gela? Org-mate ko yan. Alright, so viral posts and raising awareness. And I hope na na ma-revive mo nga yung Instagram page.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think hindi ko na-catch kanina. When did you start doing this nga ulit? I think you mentioned it eh.
It was when I was having a lot of stress na sabay-sabay sa buhay in 2017, 2018. I had entrepreneurial stress sa family. And ayun nga, I mentioned that my brother was suicidal and I was there to help him out of it. And then Yeah, nagsabay-sabay. There's more to it than I'm comfortable saying, but um, when it all got too much, I started being proactive about it. I went to a new therapist in 2018. Tapos, to be honest, trying to find your therapist is like dating. Marami kang mismatch siguro na ma-encounter. Um, and then I didn't know na it could be that good when I finally found my match. Kasi I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate when they say, therapy is not for me kasi I tried it na eh. And then, ang hindi nila alam, hindi lang nila match.
May ganon pala, no? Kasi parang whenever we see like on media like movie, TV, 'di ba, na when they go to a psychiatrist, parang wala yung hassle na yon na oh, I'm moving to a different psychiatrist because this is not my match. Kasi pag nakita na natin sa mga ganyan, di ba, parang they're already in the office or natawagin na sila, nasa waiting room. Gano'n. Wala yung mga hassles na I'm not gonna continue with this psychiatrist kasi hindi kami match. Hindi ko lang nalaman yun.
Yes, and ang dami yung hindi alam na there's a difference between a psychiatrist, who is the doctor who can prescribe medication and diagnose, and a therapist. A person can be both a doctor and a talk therapist, pero usually when you say you're going to the therapist, that's not the doctor.
Oh.
That's the talk therapist who will help you sort of rewire the way you think to become more resilient. It's like mental health gym. There are a lot of muscles, a lot of skills that can be trained for your resilience. Kailangan lang ng maraming practice, which can be honed in therapy.
So yung tinatawag nila sa mga movies na shrink, ganon, it's the talk therapist. Tama ako?
To be honest, I'm not sure.
Kasi 'di ba parang you need to see a shrink, ganon sila. May mga
yung shrink na tinutukoy sa movies, sila yung mga psychologists. So yeah, talk therapist.
Okay.
Yes, ako nag-relate.
Oo. It's it's very informative. Ang dami kong you learn today.
Pero I like how the way that you phrased it. You use the term talk therapist instead of saying psychologist or shrink. Kasi usually when people hear those terms, magpapapsych ako, magpupunta ako sa shrink, may nagkakaroon agad ng negative connotation. But when you say you're going to a talk therapist, it's more of the healing, na yung connotation na nandun is more of the healing. Which sinasabi mo na, I can be healed, I can be okay. Diba? Ang positive. I like that.
Yes.
Yes. So I really hope that people see it that way. Kasi usually, ang dami kong kaibigan na gustong ma-heal, but they do not want to be judged. They are scared because of hindi naman nila alam kung ano yung mangyayari exactly. Diba, we're all scared of what we do not know.
Yeah.
Tapos sasabihin nila, it's too expensive, but it's actually costing them their performance at work or their businesses. So actually, they're losing more as time goes by without healing. I always said na yung analogy ko to it is, think of it as you're in the ocean and you're injured. You cannot swim. A psychiatrist, so the doctor is the one that gives you the diagnosis and the prescription if needed for medication. I would say that's your salvavida. And then your talk therapist is like your swim coach. If mag-rely ka lang sa salvavida, hindi siya sustainable because you really need that help from yourself to get yourself out of there to a safer place. So your your swim instructor, which is your talk therapist, um, will teach you to swim on your own. Kasi the waves will not stop. This is life, di ba? Every week, every day, meron tayong sarili-sariling obstacles. Hindi magsistop yung mga problema. But with talk therapy, pwede kang turuan to ride it so that you can continue with your life na hindi ka lumulubog.
I like how she compared that to like, being in the ocean and drowning in the salbabida. It's the first time I heard that. So, ako may question ako, Gela. So, for people like us na we are not diagnosed with mental illness or mental anxiety, ganyan, depression. What are the do's and don'ts for interacting with people na meron, like, na baka di namin alam, nakaka-offend na pala kami or na we are helping exacerbate the feelings na nafe-feel nila or yung thoughts, ganyan, when we do the certain things we do normally, ganyan.
Yung pinaka-skill is compassion or malasakit. So, kunyari you're really sad, tapos nag-confide ka sa friend mo, tapos sabi lang ng friend mo, drama mo naman. That's your friend not making it a safe space for you to speak. And nagigets ko rin yung mga friend na gano'n kasi usually hindi naman talaga nila alam yung sasabihin, di ba? They want to be comfortable. And they're not comfortable if maging sad ka sa kanila. That's why shut off ka. So it's more of self-preservation than a friend being mean to you. But it does exacerbate the situation. So ang advice ko lang to anyone listening, if you want to help your friends who are struggling emotionally, mentally, just do not judge. Listen. You don't have to talk if you don't know what to say. You can just lend an ear. You can just say that their emotions are valid. Kasi people usually just want to fix them eh. Kunyari may sinabing problema, tapos yung knee-jerk reaction ng mga tao is to fix it. It's either they shut it down or they fix it. You should approach it as, the problem is they don't know if what they're feeling is valid. The solution is that you are the soundboard and you tell them, yeah, that's valid. If I were in your position, I would have felt the same way. Tapos, that actually makes a person feel so much better, usually.
I like that. I like how you pointed that out. Kasi recently, I was talking to a friend na ang dami niyang challenges in life right now. Tapos, nag-party sila sa loob ng house nila. Ng family lang sila. Always sila magkakasama. Pero kakadating lang ng sister. But the sister turned out positive. So, biglang lahat sila quarantine agad. Okay? Although, right now, tomorrow yung end ng quarantine period nila and wala nang nag-positive other than the sister. And bata pa siya eh, like our age. So, medyo nakaka-recover na siya. But, because of the challenges, grabe yung pinagdadaanan niya. Tapos, he ranted to me about yung mga things na na-feel niya. And that's what I tried. Kasi honestly, before, hindi ako marunong mag-approach nung ganyan. Natuto ako sa best friend ko in a way. But, so tinry ko yung ginagawa ng best friend ko whenever nag-rant ako na that's okay if you're feeling this right now kasi that's very understandable. Ginanon ko siya. Tapos, first time ko naka-encounter na sinabi niya sa akin, "Uy, thank you so much." Kasi I felt heard. Kasi I talked to my best friend about it and sinabihan lang niya ako na wala lang yan. Yun lang yung naging response sa kanya ng best friend niya. Tapos, galit na galit siya sa best friend niya because of that. Pero, ayun nga, kasi di ba, we don't want na parang i-invalidate pa tayo kung nag-rant lang tayo. Sometimes we just want to be heard.
Ganyan din yung sinabi mo sa akin, Pao. In fair, I don't know if you remember, nung nag-rant din ako.
Learning. Gela, are you proud of me?
Yes. Good job.
Thank you.
I don't worry. Ganyan din yung sinabi niya sa akin nung nag-rant ako right after our right after shoot. Nare-remember niyo pa ba?
Oo. So, may application pala tayo dito,
Oo.
Gela.
Diba?
Oh.
I have a question. So, in related dun sa question ni Rafi. So, is there visible na may mental problem ba siya? I mean, mental illness or mental dilemma physically?
Physically, there are signs. Pero when it comes to the usual, I'm not a mental health professional at all, but this is just based on what I read. It usually it's not obvious. It's not obvious for some people. For some people, they will show that they will isolate. Wala silang gana for anything, kahit things that they are passionate about. And usually it's longer than 2 weeks. Tapos they flake parate. Now this is not to say that all flakers have mental illnesses. Pero if it's sudden na out of character and masyadong madalas, you might want to check up on your friend. And then yung pinaka magandang gawin is to just keep inviting them to talk or to hang out kahit online. They will decline majority of the time. Pero you'd be surprised how much it means to them that people actually want to spend time with them. Siguro like in 1 out of 5 mag-yes sila. Pero make the most of one kasi it might just save them.
Actually, kasi based din dun sa, mag-share lang ako kasi dun sa work ko, I handle the department that handles psych products. So I teach people about different medicines, about different diseases din, I mean mental illnesses din and stuff. When it comes kasi to mental illnesses, 2 sides yan eh. Merong side na you don't see, it's just the person feeling it. Pero meron din side na physical, like lack of sleep, sometimes too much sleep, okay? Sometimes they would feel more pain, mas madali silang maka-feel ng pain sa bodies nila kasi people with the clinical depression, they have the tendency to feel pain at a higher degree compared to people without depression. So meron talagang physical manifestations din ito. So this is a disease. That's why we have to
nung pumasok, yung na-open yung may physical manifestation, I remember, nung nag-nursing ako, parang minsan sinasabi din yung hindi na siya naghuhugas ng body or parang pinabayaan na yung hygiene niya, ganyan. Tama ba ako? If I remember it correctly. May mga ganon.
Yes. People with mental health disorders may struggle to perform normal daily tasks such as taking a bath, eating. Yung sleep hygiene nila is not good. So, yeah. And this is for a prolonged period of time.
May certain time frame ba? Like, para masabi na it is a manifestation of a mental illness or mental dilemma, ganyan?
Honestly, cannot say. I wish I were a doctor.
Can I answer that? Charot.
I guess I can go.
Go, Pao.
Actually, meron kasi mga parameters that has to be met when it comes to those things. Like, for example, for someone to be diagnosed to have major depressive disorder, you need to experience a certain set of symptoms for at least 2 weeks. 2 weeks or more. If you experience like 5 of those, kasi it's a list of symptoms like lack of sleep or change in appetite, yung mga ganun. Marami siya if you experience like 5 of those for a span of at least 2 weeks, that's clinical depression na. So meron mga ganung mga sinusunod na parameters. May time frame.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
that brings me to another question. Kung wala pang 2 weeks,
And
hindi pa siya pwedeng i-diagnose, ganun, monitoring lang.
Well, yeah, oo. More of monitoring lang ang gagawin. Kasi may if you na-follow na parameters nga, be able to say that someone has. Gela, ano ka ba? May i-share ka ba regarding that?
It's mostly the symptoms, which is the experience of the person talaga, rather than what people see. So, kunyari, if nagka-cross sa mind niya parati yung death, ganyan, hopelessness, helplessness, things you don't see. It's really, you can just really tell this experience ng person, which they're not always willing to share. So it's really best to consult a psychiatrist to get the proper diagnosis.
Sorry, ipapasok ko lang to, Gela. I know, na-open mo naman yung sa brother mo, no? Pero I know it's hard. Gusto ko lang i-confirm kasi nung way before, nung nag-aaral ako ng nursing, parang ang sabi nila is, 'di ba, pag may suicidal thoughts na yung person, parang depression, ganyan. Tapos pag nakapag-decide na siya ng na to do it, yung naisip niya before, parang may change sa ugali niya, or sa like bigla siyang magiging happy, or parang magkikita mong parang normal siya for that time before he does what he was thinking. May may ganun bang nakitang symptoms or parang manifestations nun?
Yes, I read something like this, na when the person has decided na final na that they're gonna do it, they usually have a sense of peace because the decision has been made. And that's something we cannot, we can't confirm, diba? We can't identify. So it's hard.
Kasi parang nung naalala ko, parang every time I think of that, parang makita mo na may malalaman mong may problem yung tao, tapos bigla siyang magiging masaya. Tapos doon mo na lang malalaman na okay, dahil nakapag-decide na pala siya and he or she did it already. Tapos people would be saying na bago niya ginawa to, masaya naman siya sumama pa siya sa amin sa ganito, ganyan, he was happy. So ayun, at least pala hindi pala fake news yung knowledge na alam ko.
Kasi regarding that, I remember watching a movie. I forget what the title of the movie was, but basically parang may isang guy na may depression siya, and then he was contacting this hotline, suicide hotline thing. Tapos doon sa movie na yon, it was very realistic. Ito medyo ipapasok ko lang kasi I've read that here in the Philippines, hindi talaga matino or hindi talaga nakakatulong yung suicide hotline. Kasi hindi daw talaga sila, parang may nag-post ng experience niya na nung tumawag yung isang person, tapos sabi niya na I'm contemplating doing this. Sabi niya, basta wag mong gawin, wait lang, may ginagawa kami. Parang ganun yung naging response. Kaya parang, what? I don't know if ganun pa rin until now. Pero I don't know if you guys are aware of that.
Hindi ako aware na may suicide hotline dito sa Philippines. I always thought na it was a US thing.
Pero meron tayong mga mental health hotlines na recently launched. Lalo na nitong pandemic. Pero yung suicidal hotline, wala akong idea ano yun.
Meron before,
And
diba?
that-
Tama ba, Gela?
Yes. We do have suicide hotlines, which you can memorize. Pero meron. And there are also more and more mental health institutions popping up, where people can actually just chat them up or call them up. I know many different hospitals offer professional help. So
Mhm.
I think there are 3 institutions that I do recommend, if I'm allowed to say them.
Yeah.
Sure,
Go
go.
ahead.
Yeah, so one is Mind Nation. So you could actually just chat them up and then they're gonna respond 24/7. Mind Nation, and then there's BetterHelp, and also Ateneo Bulatao Center for Psychological Services. So those are siguro my personal top 3.
Pero ano
And they
ah,
can be found like online, like Instagram or Facebook and stuff.
Yes.
Or okay, that's great.
to comment dun sa kwento mo, Pau, ha? Hindi effective na yung the person who was handling that case. Diba? Siguro hindi siya trained or hindi siya suitable for that job. Diba? Pero it's so parang nati-trigger ako na parang bakit siya nandun kung hindi yun yung kung hindi pala niya specialty yun.
True.
Pero speaking of trained, yes, Kati, may ano ka?
Sorry, I have this question. I'm not sure lang. Is there a common, kasi ang lawak ng pinag-usapan natin mental illness eh. Diba? Ang dami-daming klase. Is there a common mental illness?
What do you mean common?
Like pinaka-common na nag-o-occur
Pinaka-common, yes.
or merong common na symptoms na nakikita for all of them, ganun.
Hindi, yung symptoms kasi was mentioned earlier. So,
Oo.
yung diagnosed na illness. So, is it chronic depression ba? Or ano?
I think
Is there a list?
it's depression and anxiety, at least for the Philippines. Alam ko tumaas yung suicide rate natin by over 50% in 2020. In 2020. So it's really hard.
Oh my gosh, 50%.
Well, kasi you can just imagine because of the pandemic, people
Yeah.
are locked up. Tas yung limited na nga nila na interactions with their friends, yung mga people na nakakagaan ng loob nila, mas na-limit pa because of what's happening right now, diba? Which is, ano kaya yun? Now that it's the pandemic, for people na hard to reach out.
Yeah, it is. So we really just need to try our best to stay connected to each other. And I guess right now that's through the internet. It's very important that we keep reaching out to our friends. Every now and then I do rounds. Sa friends ko. I message na, hi, I'm doing rounds. How are you? Or are you doing all right? Tapos when they say I'm okay, I ask yung totoo.
Well,
Right.
oo.
Nobody's really,
Totally okay.
but it matters that people are seen. Diba? You may not be able to fix their problems or anything big, but it matters that people are seen through you. And that's enough.
At saka, tama nga yung ginagawa ni Gela na yung totoong nararamdaman. Kasi nobody would say, kumusta ka? Tapos sasagot siya agad ng, ganito yung nararamdaman ko. Parang I'm feeling like this, diba? Nobody would say that outright. Kaya, you need prodding talaga na yung totoo, tell me how you feel. How do you feel about today? Ganyan. Actually, I do rounds din sa mga friends ko. Tapos, out of all the friends, isa lang yung magbabalik na ikaw, kumusta ka, ganyan. Tapos I remember na nag-interact ako dun sa story ng friend ko na yon na parang, ask me a question. Tapos, my question was asking about his current state. Tapos sabi niya, thank you for always asking, sabi niya. Tapos, parang when the lifeguard is drowning, how do we save the lifeguard? Parang gano'n. Kasi yun yung time na meron din akong ino-open sa kanya. Tapos parang inaano niya na, ikaw yung lagi nag-open sa amin, tapos hindi ako sanay na may problema ka din. Sabi niya gano'n. Parang, kaya siya nag-story na, when the lifeguard is drowning, how do you save the lifeguard? Sabi siya.
Which is totoo. Kasi if people are checking up on you, try to check up on them din. Kasi you don't know if may pinagdadaanan sila and they're just trying to distract themselves from, all of the problems that they're facing.
Kung makatango ako,
Okay.
no? Parang super
Dito
relate.
ka ba kayo yung tipo na naghahanap ka lang talaga ng kausap? Kaya nagtatanong ka, kamusta ka? Kasi
Oo.
kailangan kong kamustahin mo rin ako.
Kasi hindi niyo ako pinapansin. Charing.
Oh? May
Humuhugot si Raffy.
Grabe.
Pero yung style ko dyan,
Okay,
kasi
sa mga friends po ni Raffy, may sinasabi po siya dito, hinuhugot po siya.
pero ayun, yung sa sinabi nyo na doing rounds, may style kasi ako dyan. Kasi I understand din na people won't proactively or outright say what they're feeling. So instead of asking them what they feel, ang style ko is mag-message ako na parang, uy girl, tara ML. Gaganunin ko sila, uy tara ML, uy tara laro. Uy girl, hindi ka pa sumasama sa amin ulit. Sama ka na ulit. Ginaganon ko lang sila kahit online lang na games, ganyan, para ma-feel nila. Kasi alam ko, yung mga tao ito kasi na sinasabi ko, minimute nila yung mga group chat. So, minimessage ko sila personally para makuha nila yung invite. So, pero, ayun. And I think nag-work din, I hope nag-work din naman kahit papaano.
Sabi nga ni
Can-
Gela, hindi man ma-fix yung problem, pero at least masaya sila na in-include mo sila doon and you checked up on them, na in-invite mo sila to do that. And
Yeah.
that would work wonders na for them.
I like that how we moved from the medical intervention earlier. That's right now we're talking about social intervention. Like we
Yes.
as a society can do for what we can do for our friends, people that we know. Pero ganun ba pag meron ka bang kunwari if you are someone who has mental health or mental illness, be that depression or whatever type of anxiety, kasi ang daming types of anxiety, meron din bang like sessions na ginagawa yung talk therapist for families, for your friends? Kasi di ba that could help din? Tama ba? May ginagawa ba?
Yeah, meron tinatawag na family counselor. Meron din for marriage. There are different kinds of specializations. So what I like about the institutions today, lalo na yung mga modernized na talaga, such as the ones I mentioned, they really make an effort to get to know you first, background, your condition, before they match you with a potential match mo na talk therapist.
Nice.
Kasi may iba-iba silang specialization. So one therapist may be good at these sets of mental illnesses, while another is better at these sets of mental illnesses, and
Kahit online, ginagawa din nila yun.
oh yes, right now my talk therapy sessions are purely online.
Kasi yung mga binanggit mo earlier, chinek ko sila one by one. So, nakita ko more on chat option lang sila. For the meantime.
I think that's for my nation.
My nation, yes.
You can schedule one-on-ones with them. So
Okay.
We will be putting the links of those institutions doon sa description din nung magiging episode na to, so that listeners can check them out then as well para, more awareness then that these resources are available.
Yes.
Definitely.
I hope kahit lang sa itong usapan lang natin na to maka-help tayo on spreading awareness.
Yes. And there's also a thing called emotional dumping that I hope more people are aware of. Kasi emotional dumping is when you catch a friend off guard or a family member off guard, and then you just dump all of your difficult emotions on them. You rant, and then they weren't ready for it. And that drains the other person. So when do you know when it's okay to dump your emotions? It's best to ask your friend, how is your headspace right now? Is it okay for me to share what I'm feeling, which is pretty difficult? If they say that they're in a good headspace to listen, then it's okay to share something very heavy or difficult. Pero when they're not feeling so good, you can postpone. So that's a good practice you can have with your friends.
I have
Actually,
a question on that.
Ginagawa namin yan nung best friend ko. Like, before, kasi we rant to each other a lot. Pero before we rant, kasi intense yan pag nag-rant kami, like, ang habang messages, tas multiple, nasunod-sunod. Parang ang ginagawa namin is, "Uy, how are you right now? Okay lang ba mag-rant tonight?" Ganun kami usually, okay lang ba mag-rant tonight? Although, ako personally, never pa ako nagsabi ng no. Kasi, once nagsabi na siya ng, okay lang ba mag-rant tonight? Rare kasi siya mag-rant. So, I know na, okay, something's up. Kahit hindi pa ako ganun ka-ready, i-ready ko yung sarili ko. Na parang, okay, I'll just listen. Go lang. Ginaganon ko na lang. For people then, that's gonna benefit your friends din. Para, kahit hindi sila, nasa ready na state before that, pag marinig nila yon, okay, wait. Let's try to be ready for this. Para mapakinggan siya. Okay.
There are people like myself who are I'm a hyper empathic person, so that gives me the advantage of understanding other people and their emotions, and also the disadvantage of getting heavily affected as if those experiences they shared are my own. So parang double damage when people share, but that was therapy. So in talk therapy, they taught me how to set boundaries. So setting boundaries is so important in all the aspects of our lives. And one of those boundaries that I was trained to set up is with friends who share. Kasi I get very affected talaga. Pag may share, iiyak din ako or magagalit din ako kasi galit sila. And I didn't have that boundary na sa kanya yun. Hindi yun akin. So in talk therapy, it took many months, but I finally learned how to have that boundary and protection for myself emotionally. So some people will be able to be that resilient agad-agad, but some people like myself who may not be trained in resilience might have a very difficult time.
Okay, may question ako. Kasi parang napag-usapan lang natin for the meantime. Yung parang general situations lang, right? Parang how do we deal with this, ganyan.
Rocky, ba naiiyak ka na?
Na-affect na.
Nararamdaman ka ba? Are you okay?
So, Gela, like for your in your case, how do you nahihirapan tuloy ako. How do you manage yung mental health mo in specific situations? Like, kunyari, pag nagkaroon ka ng parang, tama ba ako kung like attack or something, or nag-manifest siya.
Episode?
Like, oo.
Ano ba yung proper term?
Oo, like, tama, episode or something. How do you manage it? Kunyari, nasa work ka, or nasa isang event, like, kunyari, party, ganyan. Tapos bigla kang magkakaroon ng strong feelings or something nga na that would lead you to have an episode. How do you deal it? I mean, in your case.
I do remember right before the pandemic, there was a party and I had an episode. I was, as in, malapit na akong sumabog with tears, and then, kasi I had an imposter syndrome, and then they asked me to do a speech, tapos everyone was giving me praises, but I really didn't feel like I deserved any of it. So, I wanted to cry. Tapos, I remember going to the back corner of the room, pretending to be on my phone, facing the wall. Tapos, the empaths na friends ko felt na nakaramdam sila na there was something wrong. So, they took me elsewhere, malayo, and then I was able to cry. So, I think it's very important to acknowledge that those emotions exist, to let them out, because what do you call this? Contrast to what people think na emotions, there are negative emotions are bad, ganyan. All emotions are actually our friends. So sadness is there to let you know that there's something wrong, that there's something that must be changed. Okay? Grief is there to let you know that we should honor that emotion because there was a loss and you need that time to heal. You need to rest, and let it out. And then anger is there to tell you that there was an injustice that must be corrected. So worry or anxiety is there to let you know that there's a possible danger that you need to prepare for. So emotions are matampuhin as well. Kung try mo silang i-shove under the rug, try mo silang i-silence, try mo silang i-deny na nandyan sila, they will creep up on you, especially when you're trying to sleep. And I think all of us can relate, diba? Na tayo matulog, tapos dahil nagtampo sila na hindi mo sila pinansin, dyan na sila. Well, right when you're at your most vulnerable, when it's so quiet that they can finally be heard. So it's very important to honor your emotions, to just listen to them, to just have a cup of tea with them, have a cup of coffee with them. Just listen. Why are you here? Okay, sadness is here. Why am I sad? It's because kunyari, my friend yelled at me. I'm sad because my friend yelled at me. So that's okay. I'm sad and that's okay. Natural human reaction lang naman, sinagawan ka eh. So malamang malulungkot ka kasi akala mo good friend mo siya. And it just means na you need to pay attention to that and talk to your friend. So mga ganun.
So honoring your emotions doesn't mean na kunyari you're angry, magwala ka doon, gano'n. Diba?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean magwala ka because it's just like, you have to put yourself in the third party perspective na, okay, I am with this emotion. This emotion is anger. It's present. What do I do with it? So having that pause gives you the advantage of reacting the way you would be proud of.
Acknowledging the
Naalala ko tuloy
presence. Yun
Inside
yung
Out.
isa kong
Yes.
acknowledging the
Scotty.
presence.
Ano, may sinasabi si Scotty.
Sorry. Kasi naalala ko yung Inside Out.
Sadness.
You're familiar with the movie?
Oo.
Yeah.
Ganda
Yeah.
nun.
Ang ganda. Ang gandang representation niya for kids to understand emotions. Kasi, actually, even for adults. Kasi, feeling ko kahit tayo, hindi natin, marami sa atin yung hindi maganda yung grasp doon sa emotions.
Yeah, I really wish that emotional intelligence was taught in school. Kasi everything is, cerebral. I wish naturuan tayo how to be resilient, how to identify emotions, how to handle difficult situations, how to relate better with people, deal with problems. Kasi at the end of the day, that's yun yung true measure naman talaga eh when you're an adult of the quality of work that you give, the quality of relationships you have. There was in fact a generation's worth of study in psychology that said that the people who live the longest and happiest lives were the ones who had the strongest relationships with themselves, other people, and their community. And those who live the shortest and saddest lives are the people who were lonely, were disconnected. So, you know, sana ma-update ang ating mga curriculum.
May question ako, since na-open yung si Inside Out in a movie, like parang showing like emotions are important, whatever, ganyan. Ang question ko dyan, do you have any, pumasok lang sa utak ko eh, parang may recommendations ka ba like to our viewers, listeners, or to friends na like us, we're not well versed with may recommendations ka like a movie, book, song, ganyan na it would parang kahit na intro lang or parang it would parang pahapyaw to what how to deal or how your friends would deal with someone who has episodes or like yun nga with the mental dilemma or mental health issues, ganyan.
Yes, if you want to be more familiar with mental health, I recommend number one yung Inside Out. I think they portrayed it in the safest way. It's animated, it's light. And then the second that I recently watched was Beats on Netflix. Beats. So it's this guy with anxiety. And then maganda siya kasi it has really good beats. Literally, it's for people who love music. So he's a DJ. Tapos ganda kasi it's entertaining in the sense na it has really good music. At the same time, you're gonna see how a person with anxiety struggles. And then so I recommend going to YouTube and then searching Psych2Go. So Psych and then number two.
That's cool.
Very short cartoons that explain different aspects of mental health, and it might actually help you in your dating life as well, in your career. It gives you tips based on real literature on psychology on how to maneuver mental health, love life, career, family, how to understand yourself and other people. So, ang ganda niya kasi it's very entertaining kasi nga ginawa nilang animated. Tapos shorts lang siya. So, I recommend it. Psych2Go.
Bakit tumawa ka pa nung sinabi ni Gela na dating, ganyan, tapos tumawa ka?
Wala lang.
Akala natin nakaka-relate dun sa dating na something eh.
Dating ano yun? Nakakain ba yun?
You're single?
Oh my God. Hindi updated si Gela.
It's a good question.
Wow. Ano ba huli mong nakita sa mga post ko, Gela? Yung selfie batch?
Sure, but I will recommend.
Ay!
Gela ha! Antayin ko yan.
Pero I have this question, sorry. If coming from the previous questions before, di ba you do rounds? So, going back na naman ako sa mga common questions ko. Ano yung mga common problem and dilemma na mga nakakausap? Is it work ba? Is it about family? Or kung hindi man dun sa rounds, any studies na lang?
Okay. Very common ang family. Kasi diba you're stuck together in this whole quarantine thing. So, nag-aaway with their mom or kapatid. Very common din ang financial. Kasi, kunyari, they got laid off and they're having a hard time getting back up. These are very normal problems, and it sucks to feel na mag-isa ka kasi you don't see anyone else, di ba? Having this problem. Parang you feel like you suck, di ba? Na parang you're so incompetent, na ang loser mo kasi you're not earning as much as you did pre-pandemic. But what people need to realize, and I'm sure maraming nakaka-relate na makikinig, is kasalanan mo ba na nag-pandemic and then the company had to lay off people? Diba? Does that say na hindi ka magaling? Hindi naman, diba? So, I mean, it's just really a circumstance that you are put in, and it's not your fault. And I mean, I hope maalala ng mga tao their achievements and everything they've accomplished prior to the pandemic. And I hope they remember that the circumstance is not their fault and they can definitely bounce back again.
Kasi sometimes people blame themselves eh.
Nakarelate ako doon kasi nga 'di ba parang from earning period.
Earning a lot.
Earning period pre-pandemic. Tapos ngayon, I felt like such like hindi naman loser, pero I felt like I'm a big burden. Ngayon na parang hindi ako nawala ng tourism, ganun, walang work for 2 years na. So, I mean, pero ayun nga, naka-relate talaga ako doon. Parang hindi ko naman nga kasalanan.
You're super not alone. My sister got laid off, and it actually took her a lot of time to get a job again. But it matters that she was so funny kasi she's one of those people who wants to deny na meron siyang nararamdaman na mahirap. So she was meditating, she was doing yoga, she was reading self-help books. Tapos she doesn't wanna cry, pero when she's alone, she's gonna cry. Kasi she wants to have that strong
image.
Yes. Siya yung panganay, so she wants to be the one na diba? Parang trophy child. And finally, when she got the job, tumawag siya. Tapos, she couldn't help it. Umiyak talaga siya. Kasi ang tagal niya nag-antay. But yun nga, it matters that you keep yourself okay. Surround yourself with safe spaces. Do what's good for you. Take good care of yourself. Kasi imagine kung yung best friend mo, yun pinagdadaanan, and you're in a good place, what would you do for your best friend? That's what you need for you. And that's what you need to tell yourself.
And siguro idagdag ko lang doon kasi a lot of people have this negative connotation that when you cry, you're weak.
You're weak.
Especially for guys. A lot of guys are like that na parang, oh, I'm not gonna cry. I'm a manly man. Things like that. And I just think it's a bit problematic kasi crying is a way of, letting out yung mga frustrations na nafe-feel mo. So people have to acknowledge na okay lang umiyak. It's not a sign of weakness. Yung iba pa nga yung, if you're stronger, you're more able to cry kasi you know that it's normal to cry. It's not, a show of weakness or something.
Yes. So, naalala ko because I do have guy friends na I'm a man. Tapos, pag-breakdown sa late night, sa mga inuman, parang, kasi, tapos, pag-breakdown, pero, no, but I'm a man.
May tono talaga, no? I'm a man.
I'm a man. They're so, I find it cute. Kasi, napuhuli sila. But, ang sinasabi ko sa kanila is, you know what? You've just shown that you're stronger. You're stronger than most people because, yun nga, sinasabi na vulnerability, diba, is weakness. But in fact, if you Google vulnerability in Tagalog, they're gonna show weakness. And I think that needs to change. Because how many people are willing to show that they can cry and honor their emotions? Very few. And that takes a lot of courage to honor the emotions that you have. So contrary to popular
Their
belief,
belief.
they are the stronger ones.
May naalala ko dun sa ano. Actually kasi, sa manly man, okay? Yung ex ko kasi parang, oh, I'm strong, ganyan.
Ano ba yan? Si Spanish Sardine?
Yeah.
This is what you saw in this teka.
Yeah, siya. Okay. Tapos, ayun, parang we had to separate because of the pandemic kasi uuwi na siya and all. Tapos, ano siya, as in, I didn't know na he was crying, pero on my drive back home, ako, umiyak talaga ako. Aminado naman ako doon. Tapos nagulat ako, bigla siya nag-message after a couple of hours. Sabi niya, Pao, I'm sorry, I'm just messaging right now because I was crying in public ever since we separated earlier. It's parang ako, oh my God, he was willing to cry in public. Like, nasa ano siya, QC circle nun. Parang he said he was just like sitting down and he was like letting people see him like sobbing in front of them. So parang ako, iba yung level ng show of vulnerability and parang ako,
Alaga
wow. Eh! Joke lang.
Muling ibalik.
Wala na yun.
Pero bumalik ka nung nalaman mo.
Ikaw mo.
Nag-meet ulit kami. Ay,
Oo.
joke. Hindi, basta yun. Hindi, pares na siya nun. Anyway, naalala ko lang kasi like yung manly man kasi yung ano yung image niya sa akin. Tapos nagulat ako na he was crying. Tapos tinawagan niya ako, umiyak pa rin talaga siya. Although nasa bahay na siya nun.
Baka he didn't want to appear weak in front of you.
Yeah. He didn't. That time. Pero, umami naman siya.
Pero pag
Pero
personal
like
ba
yun.
kayo, pag personal mo ba siya nakita umiyak, iyak ka rin ba?
Oo naman. Nag-iyakan ulit kami eh. Iba na yung nasi-share. Sandali lang. Naging love life ko. Akala ko mental health. It's all about me. Charot.
Hindi ko pa rin talaga
Pero
kailangan
yun,
tulong ni
pero
Gela.
ano,
Joke lang.
naisip ko lang yung dun sa sa sinabi ni Gela. Pero kaya din may ibang ganon. Kaya may iba na ayaw magpakita ng vulnerability and such. Di ba parang yung iba na pipigilan kasi some people, yung family sa kanila lang umaasa, or 'di ba sila lang yung stone or sila yung rock for that group, ganyan, na parang everybody is getting strict from that person. Kaya parang natatakot siya na pag ako pinakita kong weak ako, parang mas lalong magiging weak yung parents or yung family or yung friends, ganyan. Pumasok lang sa utak ko. Like, correct me naman if I'm wrong.
I think we need to rebrand crying. Kasi it's really not weakness. It's a show that you are a human being, right? It's showing what is true, what is real. Kasi when I learned that my sister was crying, it made us more it made us stronger as a family, in a sense na we all wanted to support her, we all wanted to give whatever she needed to get back up, and I think that's what gave her the extra push to keep going.
And that goes back to yung statement ni Gela kanina na honor your emotion.
Emotion.
I'm listening. Sorry.
Yay!
Pero, Gela, sorry ha. May another question ako about emotional dumping. What if, syempre publican ko na naman yung tanong na yun. What if hindi ready yung person na pagrarantan mo or pag bibigyan mo ng emotion mo, di ba? Is there another way for you to dump your emotion?
Yes. So, kunyari, the person's not ready, you can say, oh, it's okay, we can, I can, kung mag-offer siya to postpone to another time, you can postpone. Pero if it seems like they're really not ready anytime soon, you could have a friend, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. If there's really none, walang safe space, you can write it out. So, pwede mo siyang iiyak, pwede mo siyang, if you're angry, you could use a pillow, tas magwala ka in a way that's not gonna harm you, or your things. Tapos, just try to find a healthy outlet for your emotion. You can even watch something na nakakaiyak if gusto mo lang ilabas. Kunyari, ano yun, mga soldiers reuniting with their kids, or yung mga dogs
yes.
rescue.
Mga touching,
Yeah, anything that you like watching, para lang ma-honor mo, malabas mo siya. Imbes na naka-stock dito. Pabigat kasi siya eh.
Oo, literally, no, mafe-feel mo kasi talaga. Parang some people would think na it's an idiomatic expression na parang masikip sa dibdib at saka mabigat. Pero it literally is.
Agree. Ang hirap din minsan iiyak eh. Kaya kailangan mo maghanap ng mag-trigger din sa'yo talaga ng pag-iyak mo.
Sorry.
Which happens,
Sorry, pag
actually
narinig ko talaga,
nag-happen siya tuwing gabi.
pag narinig ko talaga yung trigger, si Pao talaga yung pumapasok sa utak ko. Sorry.
Gela kasi, pag meron kaming mga controversial na topics, parati daw kasi ako triggered. Kaya,
You're passionate.
yes. Ganyan talaga. That's what they like about me. Charot!
Papalitan na natin yung name mo, hindi na intellectual bekshies. Triggered bekshies.
Wow.
The aggressive break.
Uy, hindi naman ako aggressive.
Sige,
Triggered
na
lang.
Triggered
Baka
lang.
triggered sa aggressive.
Kalmado pa rin naman yung pagka-triggered ko. Anyway.
Do you want me to flash some scenes sa pagka-edit ko para makita hindi ka kalmado? Sure.
Kalmado pa yun, girl.
Sige, Gela, going back to the question. So I believe this will be our last question for this episode. Pero siguro if ever kung magkaroon pa ng second chance, I really love the episode. I mean, more on nakikinig ako pero nag-chat down talaga ako ng notes on my mind. Yan. So, would like to ask you this. What is your opinion on this statement? Mental illness is a societal problem.
Oh, heavy yan ah.
Pang Miss Universe kasi yung tanong na.
We're ending it with a bang. Sorry.
I think, in a sense, I do believe it is. It's a societal problem. In a sense that we need every sector of society to cooperate to solve it. Kasi I think at the top level, kailangan ma-institutionalize yung mental health as mga laws sana. So providing mental health help for those who cannot afford, for example. Tapos for us individuals, we need to educate ourselves. We need to be more aware on how to respond, especially if it's an emergency. Kasi yung the stigma, it can kill talaga. Not knowing how to respond as a friend, it's also very vital. Kasi what if this person has been trying their best to cope by themselves kasi they don't think anyone is ready to listen. Tapos they went to different spaces they think were safe. Tapos shut down siya paulit-ulit. Tapos wala na siyang maisip na option, diba? I think it's very important that we all collaborate to end the stigma. So it really helps to talk about it, diba? If there are any campaigns, I really encourage people support it just so may more visibility that it's okay to talk about emotions. It's okay to honor them. It's okay to have a mental health disorder and to ask for help. That means you're willing to heal and actually get better. So I find na the more I talked about mental health, the more I posted about it, the more people actually reached out to me to seek professional help. So I got to link them up to different talk therapists, psychiatrists, and they're already on their way to healing. So, diba, if one person like me was able to refer like dozens of people, what more if marami pa tayo? More people will be able to heal themselves.
Yun talaga yung tumatak sa akin, ha. Yung quote of the episode ko for me is honor your emotions. Yun
Yes.
talaga yung nag-stick sa akin. So, thank you for joining us today, Gela, no? So, before we end this, can you tell our listeners and viewers where to find you? Like IG accounts, Facebook, or Twitter, kung ano yung ano mo, or where they can find you regularly, gano'n.
Sure. I post a lot about mental health on my Facebook. So it's Gela PS Papa Sierra. So GELA space Papa Sierra PS. And then on Instagram, I also post mental health content. I like to sort of vlog. It's stung by a jellyfish.
Cutie! Ang cutie nung stung by a jellyfish.
Yeah, stung by a jellyfish. And I hope you could also follow Ano Yang Mental Health on Instagram, because I also will revive that.
And refix.
Or Refix, yeah, if you want eco-friendly stuff that help fisher folk, Refix on Instagram.
Reef pic.
PICPS.
How
We'll
about
include that
your-
sa description?
How about your your upcoming video? Pwede na ba sabihin yun? Baka hindi
Kasi diba, ilang beses, diba aside sa Somewhere in the Middle, nafe-feature din kasi si Gela sa other
Yan.
vlogs or podcast.
I believe you have, yung guesting mo somewhere. Ano nga yung guesting mo?
Pwede na bang sabihin? Baka hindi pa pwede, mademand.
I think nakalabas na yung episode na yon pagka-post natin ito.
Okay.
Yeah, so May Mendoza has a new show. It's called #MainGoals. And you can watch it on, I think, Buko. I forgot. Signal TV. Tapos, I'm on this week's first week of September, day 4 and 5's episode. So that's Thursday and Friday.
Nice.
Alright.
Congrats.
Sige, so I hope makatch natin yan. And for our listeners, of course, we will be sharing or putting in the description lahat ng mga socials that Gela has mentioned, and also the institutions for mental health, yung place that you can reach out if in case you need like professionals to talk to rin. So Gela, again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy that you were able to paunlakan kami na sumali for this episode. Kasi I have to be honest, Gela, kasi this is not the first time that I'm hearing you speak. I've heard you deliver some speeches before through our organization, JC Artigas, and always akong may napupulot na aral. Kaya natutuwa ako to hear you speak about these things. And I hope more people gets to listen to your voice and malaman nila yung thoughts mo about these things.
Thank you, Pao. That's a lot.
Thank you so much
Thank you,
sa
thank you,
pagpapaunlak.
Gela.
Thank you so much,
Oo.
Gela.
Ayan, so another episode, I'm sure na marami ang na-enlighten doon sa episode na ito. And with that, again, thank you so much, Gela. And again, as usual, this is Pao.
This has been Scotty.
And this is Rafi.
And this has been Somewhere in
Somewhere
the
in the
Middle.